My fiancée was supposed to be at her mom's, but a stranger messaged me on Instagram. "Isn't this your girl?" With a video of her straddling a guy at a house party while another held her hand. When I rushed there and she saw me in the doorway, I always thought quiet weekends were the one thing I could rely on. That Friday started like any other. My fiancée, Raya, packed a small overnight bag and told me she would stay at her mother's place because they needed time together. There was nothing suspicious about it. Her mother lived 30 minutes away, and they had these bonding weekends every few months. I even helped carry her bag to the car and kissed her goodbye, believing we were fine. That illusion lasted until a little past 11 at night, when my phone buzzed with a notification from an Instagram account I had never seen. The username was random, the profile picture a blurred landscape. The message was short. It asked if Raya was my girl. A video loaded under it. I assumed it was spam until the preview showed her unmistakable hair and the outfit she had worn earlier when she drove off. I tapped the video. The sound exploded first, the kind of chaotic noise only a packed living room full of loud strangers can generate. Then the camera steadied enough for me to see Raya on a couch in the middle of everything. She was straddling some guy whose hands were on her waist like it was the most normal thing in the world. Another man was holding her hand like they were posing for a party poster. People were yelling, cheering, and clapping around them. Raya moved on that stranger's lap like she had been doing it all night. I watched it twice to make sure I was not mistaking someone else for her. My stomach tightened as I recognized the bracelet I bought her last month. The same one she said she never took off. That was the moment something in me sharpened. I grabbed my jacket, took my keys, and drove without thinking. The address came from a second message from the same account. Whoever sent it wanted me to see everything. I didn't reply. I didn't ask a single question. I just drove. The house was in a neighborhood known for student parties. Cars lined both sides of the street. The windows glowed with the kind of lighting that meant people inside were either drunk, high, or both. I could hear the music from half a block away. My heart hammered with each step I took toward the front door. Nobody stopped me. The door wasn't even fully closed. Heat, sweat, and alcohol slapped me in the face when I stepped inside. The living room was crowded, with people pressed against walls, sitting on the floor, holding plastic cups. It took me a moment to scan the room, but once I found Raya, the rest of the faces blurred. She was exactly where she had been in the video, only she wasn't laughing now. She froze the moment she looked up and saw me standing in the doorway. The guy she straddled earlier, tall, muscular, shaved head, rested his hand casually on her knee as if nothing was wrong. Another guy with a raised phone slid sideways, trying to block the scene, but I had already seen enough. A few people nearby noticed the tension and quieted down. The music still thumped, but the noise around us faded. Raya stood up slowly as if she could reverse the situation by moving gently. Her legs shook, and she grabbed the arm of the couch to steady herself. Before she could walk to me, the guy she had been sitting on, later I learned his name was Qley, leaned back and looked me up and down like I was interrupting something insignificant. His expression wasn't hostile. It was dismissive, the kind of look someone gives when they believe they have more control over the situation than you do. The person who had filmed her earlier pushed through the crowd to get a better view. Phones started rising here and there. My head felt hot. The room felt smaller, as if the walls had moved in. Raya approached me, and for a moment, I thought she would give me an explanation that at least resembled honesty. But she didn't. She grabbed my arm, pulling me toward the hallway, trying to lower her voice, trying to shift the responsibility to the alcohol or the environment or whatever excuse she could manufacture in the moment. I told her to stop talking until we were outside. The second we stepped out of the house, the cool air hit me, clearing my head just enough to keep me from shouting. Raya followed me down the short walkway, talking nonstop, offering explanations that sounded like random fragments. She said she didn't know how she ended up in the guy's lap. She said she drank too much. She said she never meant for anything to happen. She said she thought he was pushing her as a joke. Nothing came out clearly. Nothing made sense. Before I could respond, the front door opened, and Qley stepped out. He wasn't drunk. He wasn't confused. He was calm in a way someone only becomes after doing something many times before. He crossed his arms and told me she had been at their gatherings for weeks. He did not raise his voice. He did not sound defensive. He acted like this information was routine. Raya snapped at him, telling him to stay out of it. But Qley kept talking. He said she had told people we were having issues and she needed space. He said she danced with whoever she wanted. He said she seemed comfortable. He said a lot more before Raya lunged at him, trying to silence him, but he stepped back easily. That moment hit harder than the video. It meant the betrayal wasn't a one-night thing. The way she reacted to him proved they knew each other more than she had admitted. It forced me to face the possibility that everything she said earlier was a rushed attempt to cover a pattern, not a single mistake. I told Raya to get in my car. She refused at first, insisting she needed to grab her bag from inside. I told her she could get it later. She tried to argue until more partygoers gathered near the doorway to watch. Someone laughed. Someone whispered. Someone recorded. I didn't want to give them a show. I unlocked my car and told Raya she had 2 minutes to decide if she was coming or not. She finally walked over, shaking, and got inside. She didn't say a word during the drive. I didn't turn on the radio. The silence pressed against both of us. When we reached my apartment, she still hadn't formed a coherent explanation. She tried again to blame the alcohol, then said she didn't remember anything, then admitted she remembered parts. Her story shifted with each breath. She said she only sat there because someone pulled her. Then she said she thought it would be funny. Then she said she didn't think anyone would take it seriously. When I asked her why she was even there if she was supposed to be at her mother's, she hesitated long enough to reveal everything she was about to say would be another lie. That pause confirmed the betrayal wasn't an accident. It wasn't spontaneous. She was somewhere she wasn't supposed to be, doing something she chose to do. I asked one question: how many times she had been at that house? She didn't answer. Her silence was the biggest confession she could give. I ended the part of the night that could still be considered a conversation. I told her she would sleep in the guest room. She walked down the hall without looking back. I sat in the dark living room long after she closed the door. My mind replayed the way she looked when I arrived. Comfortable. Relaxed. Not surprised by the environment. That image lingered more than the video itself. I didn't know the full truth yet, but the cracks were already visible. Something bigger was hiding behind her silence. The night wasn't over. It was just the first piece of a larger picture that I had not been ready to see. I woke up early because the guest room door creaked sometime before sunrise. I didn't check if Raya left the room or the apartment. I didn't care enough to move. I stayed in bed until my phone buzzed again. It wasn't another stranger. It was my best friend, Theo, asking if everything was fine because people had been posting short clips from the party. My throat tightened. I texted him to call me. He didn't. He showed up at my door 10 minutes later, unannounced, wearing the expression of someone who already knew what happened but wanted to hear my version. We sat in the kitchen. Raya had not come out yet. Theo avoided my eyes when I told him about the video. He avoided them even more when I told him about what Kate had said, that Raya had been at these parties before. Theo finally exhaled and admitted that he knew something. He said he didn't want to interfere. He said he thought it wasn't his place. He said he didn't want to lose Raya as a friend or be the one who ruined things. Hearing him talk felt like betrayal layered over betrayal. He hadn't cheated on me, but he stood by while something destructive unfolded. He heard rumors. He saw her at least once in a video someone sent him weeks ago. He shrugged it off because he didn't want to be in the middle. I asked him why he didn't show me that earlier. He said he was afraid I would cut her off instantly and blame him for everything. His fear of making things uncomfortable for himself outweighed my trust in him. I didn't shout at him. It wasn't anger. It was the sharp realization that there were more people around me comfortable with silence than with honesty. Raya finally came out of the guest room. Her eyes were red, but I couldn't tell if she had cried or stayed up rehearsing excuses. She flinched when she saw Theo, as if she didn't expect anyone else to know. She asked him what he was doing there. He didn't answer. He didn't defend her. He didn't look at her. That told me more than anything he could have said. She asked to talk to me alone. I didn't follow her to the hallway. I told her if she had something to say, she could say it in front of both of us. She didn't like that. She shifted uncomfortably, choosing each sentence with care, as if she could salvage the story by controlling the environment. She claimed she went to the party because everyone was going. She said she only stayed for a little while, but since the videos showed her there longer, she added that she lost track of time. She insisted she did nothing wrong except drink too much and get caught in the middle of stupid behavior. She refused to explain why she lied about being at her mother's. I told her I wanted her mother to hear this. That was the first moment she panicked. She grabbed my arm, telling me we didn't need to drag her family into it. I told her the truth didn't need protection. She didn't respond. Theo left quietly. He knew I wouldn't be relying on him anymore. He didn't try to fix anything. He didn't ask if we were still friends. He understood the answer already. After he left, Raya followed me around the apartment, trying to switch the focus. She asked if I trusted her. She asked if I could forgive her. She asked if I believed she wasn't that kind of person. She avoided every direct question I asked. Every explanation felt like an attempt to reshape what I had seen into something less damaging. Around noon, her phone rang. She tried to silence it, but I caught the caller ID, her mother. I told her to answer. She did, and it took 30 seconds for me to understand Raya had told her own version of the story before I even showed up at the house last night. Her mother asked me if I had gotten angry with Raya and embarrassed her in front of strangers. The question didn't surprise me. I expected damage control, but hearing her mother defend her before hearing a single fact stung deeper than I expected. Raya tried to take the phone away, but I raised a hand, telling her to stop. I took the phone and told her mother what actually happened. She didn't believe me at first. Then she heard the tremor in Raya's voice. That silence on the other end lasted long enough for her mother to realize something bigger was hiding behind Raya's shifting explanations. The call ended with her mother saying she was coming over. Raya's reaction was immediate hostility. She didn't want her mother here. She said she didn't need another lecture. She paced the living room like someone trying to outrun the consequences closing in. Before her mother arrived, I got another message. This one came from someone at the party, a girl named Mira, though I didn't know her personally. She saw me last night and recognized my face from Raya's social media. She sent a clip from a different night, recorded weeks earlier. Raya was in a crowded kitchen, dancing with another guy who kept pulling her closer. She wasn't drunk. She wasn't confused. She was fully conscious and fully involved. The clip ended with someone yelling her name as she ran into another room laughing. I showed the video to Raya. Her reaction wasn't denial. It was fear. Pure fear. She knew she couldn't spin it as an isolated mistake anymore. She said they made her feel included. She said she wanted to relax. She said she felt pressured to act fun so they wouldn't judge her. She said a lot of things that all dissolved the second she realized her mother would hear everything. When her mother arrived, the tension filled the room like smoke. She sat across from us, waiting for explanations. Raya picked a story she thought would land softly. She said she felt distant from me. She said she needed a break. She said she ended up at a party where things got out of hand. She said the guy pulled her into his lap. She said she didn't know how the videos looked as bad as they did. Her mother didn't buy it. She asked her why she had been there weeks earlier. Raya's eyes widened. She wasn't expecting someone else to supply new information. I explained what I had been sent. Raya tried to talk over me, but her mother told her to stop. The room fell into a quiet that exposed every lie Raya was still trying to hold together. Her mother asked why she told her she was at her house last night. Raya had no answer. She tried to change the subject, tried to soften the edges, tried to claim stress, tried everything except the truth. Her cousin arrived minutes later, having heard from her mother that Raya was in trouble. He asked directly if the rumors were real. Raya reacted like someone being cornered. She snapped at him, insisting it wasn't what it looked like. But each new voice added more pressure. I sat back, letting the contradictions stack on top of each other. Raya's story collapsed without me having to say much. Every lie she told exposed another. Every attempt to control the narrative backfired. Her cousin asked her one more time why she lied about her location. Raya's voice shook. She said there was something else going on. Something she had been trying to handle privately. She said it wasn't cheating. It was something else. Something she didn't want to admit. Her mother asked what she meant. Raya looked at me instead of them. That hesitation told me whatever she was hiding would come out soon, whether she wanted it to or not. The second part of her story was unraveling, and the worst pieces hadn't even surfaced yet. Raya stayed silent for almost a full minute after her mother confronted her. She kept looking at me like I held the script she needed but wouldn't hand over. Her breathing turned shallow, and her hands shook as she tried to come up with a version of her life that still made sense. Her mother and cousin waited, both of them seeing the messy intersection where lies meet consequences. I didn't push her. I wanted her to speak without direction. I wanted the truth she was avoiding. When she finally opened her mouth, she said the sentence that shifted everything. She claimed she had been going to those parties because she wanted to build connections. Connections with people who promised to help her get into an influencer circle. The phrase sounded ridiculous coming from her. She never posted anything serious online. Her entire account was photos of coffee cups, sunsets, and occasional selfies. The idea that she had suddenly become obsessed with social clout didn't make sense. Her cousin folded his arms. He asked her why she needed to appear single to make those connections. She denied saying that. He pulled out his phone and read a message one of her acquaintances had sent him that morning. Someone who had seen her at more than one party bragging that she would trade up once the right people noticed her. Her mother's expression tightened. She asked Raya if she said that about me. Raya stammered, tried to spin it, tried to say the words were taken out of context. I didn't say anything. Watching her scramble felt surreal. It didn't feel like the woman I planned to marry. Her cousin wasn't finished. He said the same acquaintance mentioned Raya acted differently when I wasn't around. There were nights she told people she wasn't sure if we were still together. Nights she flirted with whoever gave her attention. Nights she performed for cameras because someone had convinced her it made her look exciting. Her mother covered her mouth, trying to process everything. Raya shook her head, denying parts, admitting parts, mixing reality and fiction until none of us knew where the truth actually began. I asked her directly if she told anyone we were basically done. She said she felt insecure and thought people would judge her if they knew she was engaged. The excuse crumbled instantly. Her mother asked how insecurity leads to dancing on strangers. Raya said it wasn't like that. Her cousin corrected her. He said he had seen enough of the circulating clips to know exactly what it looked like. Raya's voice rose. She accused us of judging her without context, saying she felt trapped by her own life. She said she wanted a break from stress. She said those parties gave her the feeling that she wasn't boring. She said they made her feel free. The sentence hit harder than I expected. She didn't say she felt trapped by lies. She said she felt trapped by me. Her mother stood up and told her she needed to take responsibility instead of blaming the people she had betrayed. Raya didn't respond. She stared at the floor like she was trying to find a crack she could slip through. Her cousin said she owed me the full truth at the very least. Raya looked at me again. Her eyes were less panicked now, more resigned. She said the parties had started harmless. Someone from her work invited her. She didn't think it would become a habit. Then someone complimented her. Someone else encouraged her to join a group photo. Someone said she should come back next week. She liked the attention. She liked not thinking about responsibilities. She liked the feeling of being someone else. Her mother asked why she lied about her whereabouts. Raya admitted she didn't want me to know because she thought I wouldn't understand. She thought I would stop her. She thought I would limit her options. Hearing her list imagined scenarios where I controlled her felt absurd. I never told her who she could spend time with. I never told her where she could go. I never policed her choices. She built a cage in her head and blamed me for it. Her mother finally said she needed to leave. Raya refused. She said she needed to talk to me alone. Her mother insisted she come home for the night. Raya started crying again, saying she wasn't ready to face the rest of her family. Her cousin stepped in and told her crying wasn't an escape route. He said she had crossed multiple lines and needed to deal with the fallout. Her mother walked out without waiting for her. Her cousin followed. Raya stood in the doorway staring at the closed elevator doors for a long time. When she finally turned toward me, she asked if I understood her now. She said she didn't cheat for romance. She did it for attention. She wanted to feel noticed. She wanted to feel interesting. She wanted to feel like she had value outside of our relationship. She thought those parties offered that. A cold calm settled inside me. I told her attention-seeking is not an excuse for betrayal. She argued that nothing serious happened. She said I was overreacting and destroying us because of a few stupid nights. She blamed the videos. She blamed the people who recorded them. She blamed the person who sent them to me. Everyone except herself. Then came the next twist. The jealous ex-girlfriend of Qley, the same person who sent me the video, called me through Instagram. Raya tried to grab my phone. I stepped away and answered. The ex introduced herself. She said she sent the videos because she was tired of watching Raya act like she belonged at that house. She said Raya had been bold with Qley multiple times. She said Raya had told him she was drifting away from me. She said the entire group assumed Raya was preparing to leave me and wanted to be part of their scene permanently. Raya started yelling the second she realized who I was talking to. She insisted the ex was lying out of spite. The ex said she had more clips if I needed them. There was no malice in her voice, just exhaustion from watching the same drama unfold every weekend. I hung up without asking for more. Raya's face twisted. She accused the ex of destroying her life. She accused me of taking a stranger's side. She accused everyone except herself. I told her I was ending the engagement. The shock on her face wasn't about losing me. It was about losing control. She lunged toward me, gripping my shirt, begging me to reconsider. She said she didn't mean to hurt me. She said she just wanted to have fun. She said she had been overwhelmed by expectations. Every sentence dug the hole deeper. Nothing she said suggested regret for the betrayal itself, only regret for being caught. When I walked away to pack her things, she followed me like a shadow. She kept repeating that she made mistakes but didn't deserve this. She said we could fix it. She said I needed to give her time. I put her bag by the door and told her she could stay at her mother's for now. She tried to block the exit. She tried to hold my arm. She tried to make me sit and listen again. I didn't. She finally left, slamming the door so hard the frame rattled. I spent the next hour sitting on my couch staring at nothing. It was strange how quickly peace replaced chaos once she was gone. The apartment felt heavier, but the pressure inside me began to dissipate. Then my phone buzzed again. A notification from someone I didn't know. The jealous ex had posted the full compilation online, and Raya was about to face a storm bigger than she imagined. I learned about the compilation going viral before Raya did. It started spreading through private group chats first, then it moved to the smaller accounts that lived off party gossip. Someone stitched her dancing, her laughing in hallways, her climbing onto Cade's lap, and her hand intertwined with another guy's. No narration, no edits, just raw footage arranged chronologically. There was no ambiguity in any clip. It painted the kind of picture that didn't need commentary. I stayed off social media, but I couldn't avoid the notifications. People from my work sent messages asking if I was all right. A coworker called to warn me that one of the clips had reached a page with nearly 50,000 followers. I didn't respond. I didn't need to add my voice to anything. Raya, on the other hand, found out through her cousin, who sent her a link early that morning. She called me before I even poured my first cup of coffee. I let it ring. She called again, 10 seconds apart, until I turned off my phone completely. I wanted a few hours without noise, without explanations, without desperation. When I turned it back on around noon, I had 20 missed calls from her, 6 from her mother, and 4 from Theo. Every voicemail from Raya was the same theme. She insisted the videos were edited to make her look worse. She insisted the angles were misleading. She insisted someone was trying to ruin her. She insisted I needed to help her calm things down before her job found out. But her job already knew. I learned that from the voicemail her mother left. Someone at her workplace had forwarded the viral compilation to her supervisor. Apparently, a coworker recognized the house and the people in it. When her employer called her in that morning, Raya tried to say it was all taken out of context. But context didn't matter. The company had a strict code of public conduct, and she represented them in client-facing roles. The videos were enough to suspend her pending review. In her mother's voicemail, I heard the tension she was trying to hide. She asked me if I could talk to Raya because she didn't know how to handle her. Raya had locked herself in her old bedroom and refused to answer her door. Her mother asked me to reach out. She said Raya needed support. I didn't call back. I wasn't trying to punish her. I just didn't want to be the person who softens the consequences she created. Around mid-afternoon, Theo came over unannounced again. He looked exhausted, like he hadn't slept. He said he heard about the compilation and wanted to apologize. I let him talk. He said he was wrong for staying silent. He said he knew Raya was getting involved in something messy, but didn't want to lose access to that group. He said he wanted to feel included too. He admitted that he kept quiet because he didn't want people thinking he was trying to break us apart. His apology wasn't dramatic. It wasn't heartfelt in the way someone repenting would act. It was the apology of someone who realized he lost control of the situation and wanted to repair only the part where he looked guilty. I told him I couldn't trust him anymore. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't argue with him. I just told him plainly that friends don't protect chaos at the expense of clarity. He nodded, unable to argue. He asked if we could fix the friendship eventually. I said I didn't know. He left without pressing further. Later that evening, I decided to go for a walk, mostly to clear my mind. When I stepped into the parking lot, I noticed fresh scratches on one side of my car. Not deep enough to destroy the paint, but long enough that someone dragged a metal object along the surface. The marks were recent. They hadn't been there earlier. Before I could take a closer look, the stairwell door slammed behind me. Raya came down the steps with wild energy, her hair messy, her face swollen from crying. She looked nothing like the person who tried to spin stories yesterday. She walked straight toward me, talking so fast her words tripped over each other. She said she didn't know what happened to my car. She said she came to find me because I wasn't answering my phone. She said she needed me to help her stop the videos. I told her I didn't want her showing up uninvited. She grabbed my arm with a force that startled me. She said her life was falling apart. She said she was losing everything. She said she needed me to tell people the videos weren't what they looked like. I told her I wasn't going to rewrite reality for her. That sentence broke something inside her. She raised her voice, accusing me of abandoning her when she needed me most. She said if I hadn't stormed into that party, the videos wouldn't have gained traction. She said I had ruined her reputation by reacting too strongly. She said I was making everything worse. I told her gently that she was responsible for her own decisions. She didn't hear me. She spiraled, talking about losing her job, losing her friend group, losing her stability. She said she had nothing left. Then she made her biggest mistake. She moved toward my car, kicking the tire in rage, screaming about how everyone was against her. When she tried to hit the car again, I stepped in and pulled her back. She nearly fell. A neighbor across the parking lot saw everything and came closer, asking if everything was all right. Raya snapped at him, yelling that it was none of his business. He didn't argue. He called the building security instead. Raya panicked the moment he reached for his phone. She begged me to calm him down. Before I could even respond, a security guard walked out of the side door and asked what was happening. Raya tried to talk first, but she was too hysterical to form anything coherent. I explained clearly that she was upset and damaging property. The guard asked if she lived in the building. I said she didn't anymore. Things moved quickly after that. The guard asked her to leave. She refused. He repeated the request. She tried to argue. The neighbor confirmed he saw her kicking the car. The guard called the police to mediate. Raya froze. She didn't expect things to escalate. The moment she realized police were on the way, she bolted. She ran across the lot, got into her mother's car, and sped away. The guard shook his head and filled out a short incident report. He didn't ask me if I wanted to press charges. He only noted the damage in case I changed my mind later. When I went back to my apartment, I felt the first genuine sense of peace in days. Not happiness, just clarity. I didn't hear from Raya until the next morning. She sent a long message saying she understood I wouldn't take her back, but she begged me not to tell anyone else details about her life. She said she would handle the fallout on her own. She said she was embarrassed. She said she didn't know who she was anymore. I didn't respond. There was nothing to add. Her mother called later to tell me Raya had been let go from her job officially. She also said Raya's cousin confronted the party group on her behalf, only to be told Raya had been the one bragging. Her mother apologized for defending her earlier. She said she hoped I would heal from this. After that, communication stopped. Raya didn't return to the apartment. She didn't ask for the ring. She didn't try to fix anything. She disappeared into her own consequences. I moved out 2 weeks later. I picked a smaller place downtown. A place without memories. A place where I could breathe without wondering if a stranger would send another video. Raya became a cautionary discussion in small circles. Not a villain. Not a victim. Just someone who lost herself chasing attention she didn't need. And I went on with my life. No drama. No noise. No chaos. Just the clean silence that comes when